Okay, hi. You're listening to The Infamous Chronicles. Yeah. Love you, Dad.
Welcome to episode 91 of The Infamous Chronicles. Tonight we're going to be discussing artificial entertainment, the way that the media industry is going with all their bigotry. We have special guests tonight from our brother show, The Taco Truck of Destiny. We have Wade and Junkie, and your roster is going to be infamous Casey Moran and Scotty G returns to the mic. This is The Infamous Chronicles. Here we go.
Turn down for what?
Do you even know what's going on?
This is The Infamous Chronicles.
The Infamous Chronicles.
Featuring the infamous
Aggie Rocks,
Casey Moran,
Firefox,
P-Sack,
The Jester,
Michelle Stevenson,
Niche,
and Todd.
Wait, what are we doing?
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
The Infamous Chronicles starts right now.
Alright, welcome to the show tonight. We have special guests from our newest show. If you guys haven't checked this out yet, it's they're in their 5th week of production, and it is all things geek and nerd. The show is called Taco Truck of Destiny, and the hosts are here with us tonight because we're going to get a little nerdy tonight. So we have Junkie. Wow. And Wade.
I'm just here to spruce up the sexiness.
There you go. And you guys may remember Wade has been on the show twice, right? Twice. We picked him up in a bar after my grandma's funeral.
It was that easy.
And he just came back and got shitty with us.
This is all you gotta do to please me. Just feed me some liquor and I'll go home with you.
There you go.
Yeah, of course I put out.
Obviously. I was mourning. Of course he put out. And then we have the triumphant return of 2 people that have not been on the show in a very long time. Well, one with me, and one that has not been on the show in a very long time. So first and foremost, Casey Moran is here.
It's going to be back on the pink mic.
Pink mic in it tonight.
Pink mic.
Volunteered to be on the put baby in the corner over here.
Yeah, I'm a team player. You know, Casey in the corner.
There you
Casey's
go.
Corner Sports is my radio show in college, and it's perfect. Back to you, Jay.
And then we have the triumphant return of one of the... He's the 3rd oldest member of the show.
In age, or how long he's been on the show?
Not the amount of time he's been on, but the length of time.
You
he's
look
been
like
on.
you're in your 20s. I remember my first beer.
And that would be Scotty G.
What it dookie.
There it is. Welcome back, dude.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back.
It's so good to have you. What a dookie? That's his catchphrase.
Oh, it's on every show.
Let's get dookies on our shirts.
Yeah.
Augie Rocks used to have a mug when we tried merch for a little while. Didn't do well. But his mug said citrus asshole. That was like his catchphrase.
It's the worst flavor of sorbet ever.
I can imagine that being a taco truck special.
That's not an ice cream you would order. But it came from, we were, like, I think the show was like the worst tasting sodas. And somebody said Sundrop. And Augie's, or the other guy in my show was like, what does Sundrop taste like? And Augie's response was, it tastes like citrus asshole. And it just stuck.
I'm just thinking of tacos right now, so I'm thinking of, you got chicken, beef, shrimp, citrus asshole.
Boom.
It's definitely a topper.
Yeah.
It sounds like something you can mix in with the guacamole to make sure it stays green longer.
Little zesty in it.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper.
Confined to like...
I mean, shit. Let's try it.
It's got to be... That's
Let's try
only in
citrus
LA,
asshole.
though. That would only fly in the Los Angeles base.
Look at these guys always thinking of tacos. You know, taco truck. I get it.
Always. That's their MO.
Fucking weekly holiday.
There you go. So, you guys, before we get into the night show, let's just give a really, really quick recap for our listeners that aren't familiar with what you guys got. What is the Taco Truck of Destiny? Why are you guys doing it?
Well, what we aspire to be is the place for all nerds to go to get their nerd weekly nerd fix. We talk about all things that are geek related, dork related, spaz related, superheroes, comic books, anime, video games,
Just
action figures,
anything that brings up just joy in your heart. And if you were
in your heart,
in the 80s, the 90s, where it was not the cool thing, but you still stuck through it.
Exactly.
Those are the people we love, and we just want to bring new people into it. We really want them to have a fun time with it, and a lot of stuff that we talk about. It's really pertinent if you're into pop culture. Like last week, we had Walking Dead. And even for those who have never picked up a comic book, but just stumbled onto it because it's a really good show, come to find out, oh man, I'm watching a TV show based off of a comic, and I'm figuring out that all this nerd stuff
Right.
is what the world is enjoying right now.
Yeah.
That's what we're here.
It's a nerd renaissance. It's a great time to be a nerd. I don't know about Wade. We haven't really talked about this, but like when I was so I'm a bit older than most of you guys.
You were a wee lad.
Yeah, I'm in my early 40s, so I can vividly remember what it was like to hide my nerdisms in the closet. Literally, like in a fucking box in the closet. Like it wasn't cool. It didn't get me chicks. It wasn't. You go to Target now, and there's a million shirts with the X-Men, with Marvel, with superheroes, all kinds of shit all over it.
Right.
Back, when I was in my 20s and trying to get laid, I had to hide all that shit because it wasn't cool.
Did you have to hide it from Mrs. Junkie? Or did she know right at the bat?
That's a good question. I did hide it. I did hide it initially.
Okay.
And then once we moved in together, I fucking.
There's no more hiding it.
Yeah.
Your nerdiness came out of the closet.
Yeah.
It's a self-hater.
Yeah.
Have either one of you guys seen each other's nerding yet? No. Well, dicks obviously is part of the initiation.
Well, not only do I collect, so I also manage Dream World Comics and Toys up here in Simi Valley.
Right.
But as far back as I can remember, I've been collecting, reading, just been into the cool things like figures, and like I even remember getting the Ghostbusters firehouse with the Ecto-1, and then dumping the slime through the top of it, and everything just getting covered, and then me going into the house being like, "Mom, clean. How do I clean this? With soap and water, you idiot."
You're going to have to clean up something else right now. I'm getting hard to think about that.
You're like, you can't use soap and water, it's slime.
But it's as now I'm an adult with a collection, my closet has some clothes in it, but I affectionately call it the vault.
Yeah, but you have like this whole badass man cave with like posters and a bar.
Yeah.
You have
my garage.
The garage with like a plethora of action figures.
I can imagine your garage having like.
Would you say
shitty? I can imagine your couch being like torn apart by like cats and dogs and stuff, and having people matter on it. You just sitting down and playing with your GI Joes.
Yeah.
This is Roblox. Meet mainframe.
Yeah, Roblox meets mainframe.
And he does stage action figure pictures, and he has a huge following on Instagram. Action figure Junkie, which is where the name came from.
Yes, thank you.
So, and I'm not condoning or supporting that. Just to be clear.
And my wife, that's pretty much what she is. Neither condones nor supports.
But you're gonna do it anyway, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. It's the only thing in life that makes me happy.
So tonight's topic, why we invited you guys on, is Scotty G and I. Our day job we actually share together, and we were just kind of talking about how everything's just getting so fake. And I know you guys recently did an episode on just regurgitating the things that were famous and popular when you were kids, so it kind of works well together. But let's just start with specifically Princess Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One, and then Paul Walker in Fast and Furious, because there's a new Star Wars movie this year, and there's a new Fast and Furious movie that's come out. So we're at the point now where they can digitally put actors in movies. Let's start with you, Scotty G. How do you feel about this?
I think it really just cheapens the art of what it actually is. I mean, I grew up, in the 80s with Muppets and, like, Alien and, like, those kinds of movies. I mean, if they wanted to put some kind of creature or monster in that movie, that thing was actually physically there. Whether it was a person inside of a suit, I get it, but I think it drew you in just because of the reality of it. It wasn't just, like, digital pixel editing into it, where, I mean, for one, they try to over-detail it to a point where it's like, I don't even know what the hell I just looked at. Like, Transformers Transform was like, oh, okay. It looks like a fucking Rubik's Cube just threw up on it. So, I think that they're at a point where it can be good, but I think that they're losing a lot of the nuance and a lot of the storytelling because they just try to put too much money into the CGI part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a great example is like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh.
I don't think that there was too much done to that. I mean, the third one, yeah, it kind of got pretty hectic with the whole whirlpool and the internet.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a point where it was overdone. It was more used to help tell the story, not direct the story and be the story itself.
Right. Casey, what do you think about where we're going?
It's interesting because, like, you look at things with how technology is and CGI and all that, but it's like, if you were to look at Coachella, I think in 2012, they had that hologram of Tupac, and, like, it blew people's minds.
What?
And then I think they did Eazy-E this year when they did, like, an NWA reunion. So it's like, it can be good in certain things. Like, Paul Walker died, and they did as much as they could to get him into the last Fast and Furious, using his brothers also.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it can be good. I think it's just like anything with technology related. There's pluses and minuses to it. You look at something like, Don Rickles passing.
Yeah.
And so with Toy Story, they're still trying to find, because they haven't recorded it for Toy Story 4 yet, his voice. They're trying to find previous recordings that they could use in. So I know that's not CGI necessarily, but it's kind of cool that you can still somehow include them into the projects that they were a part of in the beginning. So
Yeah.
for that to keep the franchise alive, I should say, I think that it's important to have it, to some extent.
I agree with your point. What do you think, Junkie?
Well, I think if it really helps progress the story, I really enjoy it. Now, I really dug seeing a version of Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia in Rogue One because that's when the story took place. And those characters were part of that universe at that point in time, and it looked like that. Both of them now having passed on. Carrie Fisher hadn't died yet, but obviously she's 30 plus years older. So to have that, I think the technology to have that in the movie was awesome. I mean, if you think about it, they've been doing that for some time. Brandon Lee was unfortunately killed before the finishing of The Crow.
Right.
They had to digitally alter his face upon other actors to complete the movie. And I mean, imagine if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have had such an amazing film in The Crow. And I mean, I really enjoyed it also in Tron Legacy. We're always talking about Tron, but technology has come so far and so fast. If you go back and watch Tron Legacy, he was only a few years old. The young Jeff Bridges character as Clue.
Yeah.
Shit, that was so cool, but it doesn't look nearly as good as a digitally created Princess Leia now or Grand Moff Tarkin.
Or Downey in...
oh my god, I forgot Robert Downey Jr. in
Civil War. Yeah, that was...
young Robert Downey Jr.
That was wild.
That looked so good. But see, that's what I'm talking about. The story, that helps the story along. It's not creating the story. Like, I agree. It's just not...
But
for sake.
I'm going to give you a turn. I'm not cutting you off, Wade, but just because you specifically just said Princess Leia. In that specific instance, from what I understand, is that she didn't even know they were doing that. And she was still alive when that happened. So do you think that's acceptable to be using actors' images and voices without their permission while they're alive?
Well, no.
I mean, I get it. They own the rights to the character.
They own the rights to the character. I mean, no, you can't. If they own the rights to the character, they can kind of do with it whatever they want. I mean, that goes back to you've heard the story about Crispin Glover and
Back to the Future, yeah.
Sued the shit out of him,
but he won.
He did because they put his image on another person and tried to make him look as much like him as they could. They didn't even want him in the movie.
Right.
If you own the rights to the character, I'm not sure because some people can just go on a power trip. Imagine if Carrie Fisher, God rest her soul, had said, "No, I don't want you to do that." That would have been sad. Yeah. I can imagine she would have cared, though.
Yeah.
Wade,
what do you think?
That's a fine line that you're covering on there. Like, when we had Grand Moff Tarkin back in, he is so far past, and I'm not taking anything away, I'm not, I'm saying this as respectful as possible, that bringing him back into a pertinent role where he was heavily involved with, if you got to go ahead and do that using CGI, I'd say go ahead as long as you're doing it well.
Right.
I'm an animation and visual effects major. This is what I go to school for. Quick effects are going to be cheap. Cheap effects are not good. So when you're seeing all this stuff, if you notice, there's very few shots of Grand Moff Tarkin walking.
Right.
Well, there's plenty of him walking, but very few of his feet. That whole thing was animated and imposed on that the guy in the suit.
Right.
Really hard to get that down, so you got a little bit less of them. But it's still actually an emerging technology right now in film to get it right. He looked really, really fucking good to be digitally recreated.
Yeah, I thought they resurrected his ass from the dead. I'm like,
I was sitting there. I'm like,
too with him.
Hey, see, but the way it is, I think visual effects, computer generated imagery, it's an amazing tool, and it's exactly what it is. It's a tool. You can use a tool wrong. You can use it improperly. You can fuck around with a tool. Transformers, I'll go see it because I'm a sucker for action. Those rigs that made those cars took forever to create. It's not... A lot of people I have this discussion with think those things are created like overnight. They're not. Each detail on that vehicle is handmade out.
Right.
In a computer, someone sitting at the desk, teams working on these things.
Yeah.
So when I see it done well, and I can sort of pick out the imagery and be like, okay, this thing took months to create, or this thing took years to create.
Right.
And you could tell just how well it moves, just the function on it. The thing that I hate is when they use it and it's not necessary. They
Yeah.
use it plenty of times.
Like, look at the first Independence Day, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was a good movie or not, visually, no one can deny that it was amazing.
Totally.
And then you look at the second one.
I thought it was fun, but I'm just like, they went all sci-fi.
Yeah, everything was CGI.
But the one comment that I get a lot is, I wish they would use more practical effects.
Right.
It's not always practical to use practical effects, because if you were using a guy in a suit to mimic, let's say, a dragon or some form of monster, it will not move as fluidly as if that was a natural thing, which we can recreate in computers, because there's tools, add-ons, plugins that can actually cause fluid movement in those models.
Right.
So using that will produce a better result than attaching a couple of effects to a guy in a suit.
Right.
And that's why I'm sitting there. Sometimes it's better to use a guy in a suit, especially when it's a simple.
Now, when you're saying guy in a suit for our listeners, you're talking about like what Andy Serkis did with Gollum and King Kong, and so it's a motion capture that somebody's wearing, or even Benedict Cumberbatch did it for the Hobbit movies.
Yeah.
So they're wearing a motion capture suit. The computers register points on their body.
Yep.
And then they get. But I mean, at that point, would you consider them acting?
Oh God.
No. Yes, because technology where it's at right now, and it's still progressive. It is. The minute we get down to where we get a renderer, and I'm gonna, for those listening, rendering. Let me put this in let me explain this one out. Is Leia and Tarkin? You can tell just by looking at the texture and shimmer on their faces that that's not real skin.
Yeah.
Rendering is a process in where they apply mathematics and then layers and do all kinds of crazy stuff to it in order to filter out the image, get rid of the rough edges, and apply the good look to it. Once we get to a point where there's a render system set up to make that look exactly like your skin is right now, that's going to be huge. Kind of scary, but it's going to be huge.
Scotty G, do you think if we get to that point that we'll benefit as consumers, or do you think it's just going to be the end of art?
I'm more concerned about it for, I think, darker, more nefarious reasons. I mean, if they can, just scan your face and then be able to recreate your face on something else, then who is it from anybody, like, pretending to be you or, President Putin or fucking Trump or fucking anybody. So, yeah, but I'm sorry, that's off topic. But,
that's what happens when you get Scotty G on the mic.
Yeah. I don't really see a benefit for it. Everything, the sun rises, the sun sets, and, actors have their time, and I think you should give that time passing the opportunity to the next upcoming star to give us some new art instead of just recycling people that we've already seen. I mean, it's like digitally infusing rock into movies. It's like, yeah, he's already in everything. You're just going to have his twin brother in there with him, too.
Well, plus, too, like, do you think that we'll get to the point, Casey, do you think we'll get to the point where actors don't even sign on to movies anymore? They're just in them because the director wants to have Will Smith, so he puts Will Smith in it?
I mean, I don't know if he's going to get that because he's going to have to sign his rights for, that
the character likenesses.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know if this is a good example, but I remember when Heath Ledger died, he was in that movie Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Right.
And what they did is, I think they used Johnny Depp and someone else. Jude Law. They filled in. So, like, sometimes it's great when it's, like, a tribute to someone like that, kind of like what Paul Walker did with his brother and that type of stuff. And I don't know, Wade, if that kind of goes into what you're talking about, because that was cool to see that with the technology and how it kind of, they used that right after he passed away, after The Dark Knight and all that stuff. So it was really cool. But I think that they would have to sign, I'm not sure, like, for the legalities, but I think they would have to sign, their rights to for their character to be used. And if that's the case, if they didn't have to, then yeah, people are going to just use the technology for anybody in that movie. But then that would take away from, how great the movie is. And
right.
It's like kind of like what he was saying.
It's like character performances are everything.
Right. Even now, and it's like, it can add to it, but kind of, what they were saying about the storyline. I think it all depends on the movie. And I don't know if, with Fast and the Furious, for example, or Fate of the Furious, it's going to be interesting to see if, because I think they wanted to do 10 movies. I don't know if they're going to continue to do that. It's going to be interesting because Tyrese was saying on interviews, like, this last one made 1.5 billion, and don't expect it. It was implying, like, don't expect it to top this. And I think part of the reason it did as well as it did was because it was Paul Walker's last movie.
I think the same could be said about The Dark Knight.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, I think that he absolutely deserved the Oscar, but if he was still alive, would he have got that? You know, he would have at least got nominated, I think.
Right.
But to be nominated for a superhero movie for an Oscar is an unheard of for acting performance.
That's kind of like an age-old question on that one, though, especially when actors are nominated on big roles and then they pass. Would they have won it if it wasn't for their passing? Like, I would like to think it was the latter of it, to where their skills the one that brought them through it.
Right.
But then there's that little voice in the back of your head being like, no, let's honor him, you know?
Yeah.
Right, and I mean, that year, it's hard to think of it as a better performance, you know, whether he died or not. Like, that was a phenomenal performance.
Okay.
But the push of superhero movies to that up until that time, besides visual effects and costume and that type of stuff, wasn't getting a lot, so that kind of helped. I mean, in a way, it kind of helped bring other movies into, you know, the Academy's eyes for nominations, like Bridesmaids, a comedy. That normally wouldn't have happened. There was Judd Apatow and stuff, but I think in my opinion, it kind of helped. You know, when he got nominated, it was like, oh, there's more movies than just dramas that could get. You know,
I sincerely hope that opened the door for, like, Hugh Jackman totally deserves to be nominated for Logan, but I don't think he would have had that Ledger not already opened that door to at least prove that it's okay and no one's going to get mad if you give a superhero movie an acting award.
So I really don't need Hugh Jackman to die in order for me to get the award.
No, I don't want him to die.
Not based off of that movie.
Wear black band.
Which was another cool thing, because they recreated Hugh Jackman in Logan as well.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes, they did. So he could side by side fight himself. And shaved hair Logan looked way better than the other.
An old man Logan?
Yeah.
So you're talking about the young Sprout Wolverine?
Yeah, like sexy
looking better than
the best
winner with adamantium claws?
The best he ever looked was X2. Remember how huge he was in X2?
This is where I'm going to tell you that water's wet, the sky is blue, and fire is hot.
Okay.
What the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Of course, young man Logan's going to look better than old man.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I mean, like, even aging-wise, it was crazy what they did with Patrick Stewart. Yeah. Like, that was more of a combination, I think, of practical makeup and computer effects.
Was Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
I mean, no, he's old.
Yeah, but he's not that old.
Yeah, he does. I don't think he has all those age spots.
Yeah, that guy has looked the same for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Well,
he can still fit into that Star Trek Next Generation outfit.
Oh, he can still fit in that wheelchair. I'm gonna tell you that much.
You tell me to make it so, and I would make it so.
Are you gushing right now?
Jeez.
So maybe we won't.
Get you a towel.
We might not get to the point where digital acting completely replaces regular acting, but do you think that we'll get to the point where we see practical effects go away as a whole?
No.
I mean, I think that, no, I definitely don't see practical effects going away, but I definitely see more movies kind of coming out like the Final Fantasies, the way they're just trying to do a completely CGI encompass, but trying to make it look as real as possible instead of kind of the cartoonish Pixar kind of stuff.
Avatar, too.
Right, and Avatar, yeah. Same kind of concept where, I mean, yeah, it was heavy with the CGI, but it wasn't, that's not what drove the movie. Where you take Transformers, I always go back to it because it was just such a loading fucking pile of crap.
The storyline itself is dirt.
Yeah. But I mean, there's definitely movies where it does help, progress. But I could definitely see it going away of, like you were asking about the actors, there being less more prominent actors and then just digitally infusing the exact look for the exact character that they have imagined in their head instead of trying to cast somebody along the lines of what they think that character would look like.
Another big thing too is with practical effects, it is more expensive to do practical effects than it is to do digital.
That cannot be true.
It very much is.
Practical effects cost more. Because now when you look at movies, you can almost pretty much guarantee that everything in the background is fake.
And let me ask you this. How much money do you think a studio will spend practically causing car crashes?
Like what kind of car? Like a Fast and Furious car crash or a regular one-on-one collision?
Any.
Well, you pay the cost.
Especially when you have multiple seats.
Let's say the equivalent of 4 cars per car in the crash.
Whereas you can have one digitally modeled and keep crushing it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, but then you're getting away with so many people's jobs. Whose job it is to run the safety on stunts.
Yeah, trust me, I totally agree with you there. But
Yeah.
what the studios and a lot of people now are looking at, what is more cost efficient in the production of this movie?
Right.
As much as I respect the practical effects work of people's jobs, trust me, I do. But the bottom line is money.
Right.
That's what these studios care about. That's what the producer cares about. If they can shave off a couple $100,000, they're going to do it. And that could actually afford them, a better actor who can do more with a scene.
Right.
Because you were able to shave that money off by using the digital.
Let me ask you this.
Sam Jackson.
Wait, before you ask your question, Casey, we need to take our break, get our money on here. We are going to be right back with the Infamous Chronicles, and then we're going to hear Casey's question, and then roll into the way digital is affecting music. So, we'll be right back.
This is
First, take a big step back.
The Infamous Chronicles.
And literally fuck your own face!
The Infamous Chronicles.
All right, tonight's episode is brought to you by Audible. If you want to go ahead and grab yourself a free audiobook, they have over 1 million to choose from, and we want to give you one for free. So go to audibletrials.com/TIC. You get a free book, and you get a 30-day trial. And on top of that, we're going to be giving out a $50 Amazon gift card. This is what you have to do. This is our contest right now. Go on to social media, and, tag us in the post, and then hashtag TIC Topics. What you're going to do is you're going to give a suggestion for a topic that you want to hear the team talk about, and we'll pick the best topic. Not only will your topic be included in an upcoming episode, but you win yourself a $50 Amazon gift card, compliments of Audible. So again, that's audibletrials.com/TIC. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Now,
What did you say?
back to the Infamous Chronicles.
I said you look shitty.
All right, welcome back. Casey, you had a question right before the break. Where are you going?
I had a quick question, I guess for Wade. Now with Netflix taking over a lot of movies, like Adam Sandler has a bunch of movies and obviously comedy specials and all that. I guess that takes away from people seeing movies in theaters. So does that take away at all from effects or anything like that, or because they're shooting on Netflix, you're still going to get a really good? Because you can watch it in your house and everything like that, but they're not viewing Netflix movies at theaters, right? So. Does that take away?
So you're saying they don't need to do theater quality effects?
I think it depends on, but they're still getting tons of money for Sandler got millions for those 3 movies, so they're probably still gonna have very, very good. I haven't watched them, so I'm guessing they're still gonna have very good quality. So maybe it doesn't take away from the effects at all because the amount of money that went into it.
And don't watch them; they were terrible. They were awful. Which ones?
The
Adam Sandler Netflix.
Well, that's
movie is bad.
I went there.
Junkie, calm yourself.
I went there.
Calm down.
Keep your sarcasm holstered.
No, it actually won't. Because Netflix is now a demon in the whole entertainment industry.
Yeah, they're the equivalent. They're going to do what entertainment, but Amazon did their retail.
Yes, they're going to crush it. The only thing that really they affect contendership-wise will be movie theaters.
Yeah.
The studios are still going to... Netflix is going to get the money off of the studios making this stuff, and then they're going to work to some agreement, and they're going to start having the money funnel into them, and now it's not based off of a 4-week, 5-week, however long the movie's in theaters, because effects artists usually get contracted out. We're going to get paid regardless of how well the movie does.
Mm-hmm.
Prime example of that one would be Transformers. That was all mass money for them.
Right.
You saw how after a couple weeks it just dropped off the face of the earth, right?
Right.
Because it was Michael Bay explosion fiasco.
Yeah, it's awful.
That didn't determine.
Really breaking my heart talking so much shit about my Transformers.
Oh, we're not talking shit about your Transformers. We're talking shit about Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Are you talking about number 2?
Michael Bay wants to set the world on fire, and if he can do that and blow it up and make a movie of it, he will.
No.
He will. All of them.
All of them. And even if we gave you the first one, there's still 4 more bad ones with the 5th one coming.
He did Bad Boys.
Fourth was one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg.
Did Michael Bay do Bad Boys too? He did one of the Bad Boys.
He did both of them.
Yeah,
Another one is, I don't know, has anyone seen Ghost in the Shell yet?
No.
That movie bombed.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but the thing is, I think that's a marketing issue.
They bombed because of the whitewashing controversy.
No, because even Japanese don't care. They thought it was great.
Give a shit.
I
I just want to see Scarlett Johansson in that skin tight bodysuit.
It's not as appealing as you think. Anyways, marketing crushed that one because they marketed it as an action flick. Ghost in the Shell, for anyone who's ever watched it, read the anime, the manga, or watched the anime, no, it's not an action movie.
It's a sci-fi.
It's a sci-fi drama.
Hardcore sci-fi drama.
But this one they spent so much money on visual effects, and it looks beautiful.
Oh, still want to see it.
It looks so, just cinematically, your experience is like, You know, I'm sitting there like, this is gorgeous, but it wasn't an action flick, and it didn't do well. But
what was your experience like again?
A long
you gotta
one.
tell them we need that here in a minute.
Another one too that's like over the top for me because you keep bringing Star to Transformers, but for me Jurassic Park.
The most recent.
The first one was so fucking incredible, and this last one, oh my god, I thought it was just absolute trash.
I liked it. Shut your mouth.
I like Chris Pratt, but that movie was fucking garbage. Oh my god.
Like it might have been, well, it's just been done by Michael Bay. And that way, it's like, well, you had like 2 raptors in the first one, fucking pussies, 50 raptors.
And Chris Pratt's gonna ride them.
Yeah, and at some point, some of them are gonna fucking explode.
Yeah, they're half sharks. They're made out of sharks and grenades.
Somebody's like, but Michael, why would the sharks explode? He goes, why wouldn't they, bros?
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
If you're fucking questioning me, I'll fire you.
Yeah, right?
You ever seen a raptor?
You remember what happened to Megan Fox, right? You want that to be you, bro?
If you've ever seen a raptor, how do you know they don't explode?
What do you think there's so little fossil evidence? Because they all exploded before they died.
Could you imagine that argument?
Yes.
Steven Spielberg's like, the math on that doesn't. He's like, shut up, Spielberg. You keep your shark in the water, I'll keep mine on land fighting crime. So another big field of entertainment that's, in my opinion, has been fucking just bastardized, but some people like it, is music. No. That's a good
That's
point.
bastardized because the girls that are doing it are bastards. You know what I'm saying? They don't have dads.
But like porn evolves into like
they're named after a beautiful flower or some kind of precious gem.
And virtual reality porn. That's so stupid. That is, oh my. Virtual reality is the dumbest fucking thing ever.
I don't know, man.
I'm all about POV. Come on, girl.
Yeah, but
POV.
For the amount of money you're going to pay for virtual reality porn, you can get a blowjob on the fucking corner.
But virtual reality porn is going to give me herpes.
Yeah, I don't want herpes.
I gotta tell you though, I think
herpes is scary.
Beats by Dre was the wrong market. Like everybody's doing it like at the gym and stuff like that. It's perfect for porn because like you have kids and shit. You have headphones over. It's wireless. You can use your hands and all that stuff. It's perfect. I think Beats by Dre works.
That should have been the marketing for me.
Yeah.
This is a straight up beginner's kit. You get a tablet,
you know what
a flashlight, a bottle of Vaseline, and some Beats.
Oh.
I think you guys have both sold me. I'm ready to get the fuck out of here.
Seriously, like if I had that available to me as like when I was coming into my own, I probably wouldn't have gotten in so much fucking trouble.
I think Ice Cube would use no Vaseline though. Colin would have loved that.
All right, so Beats by Dre, music. So music has been completely transformed since the early 2000s by not only the digital availability of it, but the digital production of it. So I know for sure you have an opinion on this kind of shit. So how do you feel about where music is going and where it's going to be when our kids are older?
I think it's going to go in the same direction it's going now, and that's completely downhill because a lot of what we have is fucking crap.
Thank you.
Can you get a round of applause for that?
Yeah. I may not agree with you on practical effects and computer generated ones, but music now is fucking garbage.
Just the evolution of it. I mean, you can consider that it's been through a certain level of digitalization since it came out with electric instruments. And
all the way back to like New Wave.
But those were more enhancers than anything else. Like we were talking about the digital effects instead of sometimes taking over completely, where you can take somebody who just really can't sing, completely mix up their voice, and all of a sudden they can sing because you put it through a filter. And I think it takes a lot of the genuine artistic quality out of what that person's producing.
Well, that went the producer's the artist, not the artist.
Right.
Artists is a very loose term with these fucking people.
Oh,
and you know what? And this is where I separate music. My favorite time for like rock and roll was in the 80s. And I was born in '84. That was like the best time. I think as a whole, that was the best time for music in general. The 70s, the 80s, and the early 90s.
Are you just forgetting about the 60s altogether, or?
Well, I'm just talking about as a whole. The 60s speaks for itself. Let it go.
Okay.
You realize we just sound like old men, like bitter old men.
Oh,
like
yeah.
in my day, they had the 80s and the TRLs and blah, blah, blah. There was actually music videos on MTV and Jersey Shore, blah, blah, blah. Now.
They didn't have to worry about herpes.
I get it. I mean, I just think that, like, there's auto-tune that sucks. They have, like, T-Pain wouldn't have a career without it.
Yeah.
Stuff. I get that. But I think there's still some good music right now.
But it's not just like the rappers, but it's like Chainsmokers and Daft Punk and these people that are artists, when all they do is go on stage, they make people pay $150 a ticket to watch them go like this.
Well, my thing about it is like
pressing buttons on the
that vibration you heard.
My thing about this is there's not much story content. Like again, old man thing. But anyways, like when music was good, when the artist used to tell a story in that 2.5 to 3.5 minute song, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Now it's just repetitive people talking about their breakup or last girlfriend or boyfriend. Swift. You get what I'm saying?
Dude,
With their hookup.
No,
seriously, you should. Honestly, if I was Swift, I would have stayed with Hiddleston. It's the fucking god of mischief. Whatever. I would have gone gay for that.
You can't talk smack on T-Swift in front of Casey.
I love Taylor Swift. I want to motorboat her eyes.
Because you can't motorboat her dicks.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's the thing. I mean, I might know that she's committing suicide going off that bridge, but dude, she even like made fun of herself and did a song with T-Pain, like where she did like a little. She was like for the CMAs. But I agree with you on certain things, right? But like, I honestly think country music is the best it's ever been right now. And they are telling more stories than ever. They have the younger Sam Hunts and these type of.
I think we're making more of a blanket statement as to music as a whole. There are no matter where you go in the world or in society, wherever you go, there's always going to be an exception, and that's where these exceptions.
Well, I think it's safe to say.
We're not talking about the exceptions.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say what we are talking about is, let's call it like your top 40 hits on the radio.
But also, without the stuff, the technology of the day and all that, it wouldn't have launched the careers of other people with YouTube and that type of stuff. Like, I know you probably hate Bieber, but
I think Bieber's
without
great.
YouTube, would he have, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain artists that got launched because of the internet and these earlier times. I'm not defending every. Listen, I love the 80s music. I love the 70s. I love Billy Joel and the Beatles. I do. But I also think there's some gems that might not have had. I'm not trying to debate this. I'm just saying there's probably gems that we haven't heard yet that are going to come out. And it might not be this new age music. There's some older feels to some of these bands. Bruno Mars is a guy that is I think arguably the best Super Bowl performance of my time, halftime show.
Fuck Beyonce.
Whoa, hey.
But I just think he
about Queen Bee like that.
Not from the topic director Destiny does not support that statement.
Yeah.
But Bruno Mars? Bruno Mars.
No.
Okay. I love Beyonce. But I'm saying I just think with like Bruno Mars has that old time feel, you know?
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Again, I'm going into the exceptions. Bruno Mars has a voice like butter, and he melts me every time. He's not everyone. That guy is a valid performer.
Yeah, he really is for everyone.
Seriously, like I cry whenever I hear him.
That guy's amazingly
He's a
talented.
little angel.
Yeah. Right. So I'm just saying, I agree on some cases, but I think also there are, like you said, there are exceptions, and I think that. I don't know. I just feel like a bitter old man saying, like, in my day, the music was bad. I mean, there was music. I loved the 90s music, and I loved MTV, and I loved that type of stuff, but it's just a newer thing. It's just like people got to get used to social media and hashtags.
Did you see what Madonna was wearing?
At your work, you have to, explain to the older people how to do certain things technology-wise. So it's all about adjusting to what's new in this newer style, and appreciating the gems that they do have.
You know who's like the most forward, in my opinion, like the most forward-thinking entertainer right now? He is always 2 steps ahead of everything.
Justin Timberlake.
Well, it's his best friend, actually, Jimmy Fallon. Everything he does on The Tonight Show, whether you like it or not, he's so 2 steps ahead of everything. He's so...
Not politically.
No, I'm talking about as far as entertainment.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
He uses social media. Both the Jimmys did, and that's kind of...
Yep.
They kind of kicked out the Lettermans and the Lenos because they weren't using... That's why you have to stick...
You got to embrace what's current.
Exactly.
So I think one of the biggest things that we're coming today, and with music, is same things that with the roadblocks that we've hit in the past, is that these genres are made or these niches are found, and then they start to cookie cut, that next song, the next band, the next group, whoever's singing it. A lot of the times people don't sing their own songs; they just get fed from those writing kennels.
Yeah.
And so I mean, back in the 90s, you had the emergence of gangster rap, which came from other groups like, Public Enemy and, the old school NWA, like this conscientious intellectual rappers that were trying to put music out there. KRS-One. De La Soul. Yeah, those guys. And then the gangster rap hit the scene, and then it was like, everybody's doing gangster rap. And then it's like, oh my God, how many times are I going to hear about fucking Uzis and popping Glocks and bitches and fucking whatever it is that you guys sing about? And so it's kind of the same thing where country kind of hit ahead around that same time because it was always going back to, layers of tea or in my beer, which I'm a huge country fan. I like all the old guys and pretty much up until probably about 9/11 when I had to start hearing all these fucking You'll Never Forget songs. So I just kind of gave up on country.
She thinks my tractor's
Oh, God. Or the Buy a Boat song.
I have a question for you guys because this brings me to something I've been kind of noticing in music lately.
Combined 4 inches. We're all 3 of us.
Wow.
Yeah. Plus 3.
I must not be in there.
Plus 3 to defense.
Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
So, I'm a big 80s music fan. And one of my girls from the 80s that I totally am unabashedly a fan of. And
Tiffany.
No.
I thought so too. Madonna?
No. Debbie Gibson. Come on, guys. I'm not a Debbie guy. Not Tiffany. Take them alone now. I'll have them alone. I'm
Okay.
touching myself to Debbie.
Okay.
You can touch yourself right now.
Whitney Houston, man. Old school fucking Whitney Houston.
What's the question?
Before the
go.
Yeah.
Except before fucking Bobby Brown ruined her life.
Right.
That's
What a jerk.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
So, listening to lyrics of Whitney's lyrics back then, and not just her, but of the ladies of the time.
Yeah.
It was all about, her too, all these chicks. It was all about the real subtle innuendo. Like the song Saving All My Love For You, that's about
Losing opportunity.
No, it's about fucking a married man. It's about being in a relationship with a married man whose dick treats her better than anyone else. Listen to the lyrics, I'm telling you straight up, that's what it's about.
I'm guessing it was Kevin Costner too, because he cast her in The Bodyguard.
There you go. Could have been Kevin. I mean, I got Kevin's package, so.
Yeah.
The point is, a lot of these lyrics, it's all very, very subtle innuendo. No one ever uses the word sex. It's always love, and you have to really look at the lyrics to see what they're talking about. But now it's literally like lyrics will be like, put my pussy on his cock and I fucking suck his dick and he comes in my ass. Yeah, and it's just
that's a woman. That's a woman singing.
That's my point. That's a woman singing. What happened to fucking class?
Yeah.
I want to ask you something real quick. Who did you hear that from?
That's the new Nicki Minaj.
It's gotta be Nicki
No,
Minaj.
I'm talking about Kevin Costner.
Oh, I just made it up.
Yeah.
No, Kevin Costner's mate. Where did you hear that rumor from?
Don't you want to know?
Yeah.
I can't do it. Cal State Fullerton alum, baby.
Season's from You just have to watch his cowboy movies. He's wearing the tight jeans. Oh yeah.
Oh, so wait,
scenes. Yeah.
that wasn't CGI.
No.
Just watch Bull Durham or something. I should. I'm sure.
I'm a big Kevin Costner fan.
Who the fuck isn't? If you're not, you shouldn't be there.
Superman's dad, dude.
It's Robin Hood. Anyway.
Yeah, but I think
We
that
digress.
I don't know. That's a great point because even in the '90s, Mariah Carey and Honey, there was certain innuendos they sneak in. I don't know, like Puff the Magic Dragon or Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD. There's all those type of little hidden gems. And now it's a little harder because unlike, I was at the very end of when I turned 21, smartphones were out, you could fucking make up who you were before people could just Google you and shit.
Yeah.
Now, at a bar, you can you can't tell these tales like you used to be able to, and then people can just pull out their phone and be like, you're bullshit.
Chicks to get him in bed. What is that shit?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, sorry.
They can just Google you and see that you're on Amazon and
just,
Predator.
you gotta all I gotta say is you gotta use CGI and then you're on your
That's the trick.
Brought it all back.
That's why I go to school for this.
There you go.
All right, so that's actually going to do it for us this week. Thank you so much for joining us, Wade and Junkie.
I love you.
We loved having Casey and Scotty G back.
That was fun.
Linda doing the video over here, Facebook Live.
I love you, Linda.
We all love
First of all, a couple plugs. First, Mondays actually, all day Monday, is the premiere each week of Taco Truck of Destiny's new show. They're on every Monday. Nerd, geek, everything you want to know about that side of the Infamous Chronicles, that's those guys.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, we're coming.
You can follow them on Twitter at TTOD Podcast, right?
Right.
I
hope.
TTOD Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We're Real TIC Podcast. Head over to iTunes. Give us a subscribe and give us a comment. Casey's got his show, Discussing Depression. Congratulations, Casey, because he passed the Infamous Chronicles. It is now the #1 show under all of Infamous Works.
We're all one team, man.
We're all one team.
One team, one dream,
But
baby.
you earned that one, baby. You earned that one. So congratulations. So all things mental health, that's going to be Casey's corner over here. He says Discussing Depression. That show premieres every Wednesday. He interviews comics, celebrities, real world people, shares testimonies. His show is where Johnny Lipnicki first opened up about his anxiety. So a lot of really great things. And then Casey's just bravery on it is incredible. So go listen to that. InfamousWorks.com for all of our other shows.
There's some new shows coming up, too.
There's new shows coming up. We got details to come, so stay tuned into that. And we welcome a new sponsor next week, which we're really excited about, too. So, that is our episode this week.
If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Infamous Chronicles. Our show is produced by Jeremy Elder, talent acquisition is done by Casey Moran, and operations directed by Paul Sinacori. This show is copywritten Infamous Works, LLC, 2016. All rights are reserved. All of our guests appear signed via waivers. We don't own the rights to any of the music featured on our show. We are just fans of it. Visit us at infamousworks.com or call our offices at 844-4-INFAMOUS.